Vendors targeted as petty crimes increase at Gordon's Market. Rabaul gears up for week of festivities. And Hoods are champions in Pom Cricket.
This is National EMTV News with Helen Sayer.
Good evening and thanks for joining me for Saturday's news. A professional kickboxer was injured during the fight that broke out between children of police officers, vendors and bus crews in Port Moresby this morning. Boxer Maxi Kanea was on his way to training when he was struck with a stone on his left leg. He reported the matter to police, who responded, but vendors were not happy with the actions of policemen. Tekla Gunga reports.
According to witnesses, there were two separate incidents that resulted in the huge fight this morning. In the first incident, a woman's bag was snatched and a hand was chopped. In the second, a dispute erupted after children of police officers collected money from the vendors here at Gordon's. Kickboxer Maxi Kanea was an innocent victim caught in the midst of the fighting. He will be playing tomorrow, but he's afraid he might not be able to play as a result of the injury.
The
Gordon's bus stop area has become a hub for pickpocketing and other petty crimes because it is a central bus stop and is always crowded. Despite the increase in petty crimes here, concerned authorities like the police and the NCD Transport Division are taking a long time to address the issue.
Because there's a limit space below Gordon's Market, where government and Misabel or this like that, I wouldn't know, but all boys, they're trying to make their living now.
Street vendors are often held accountable for petty crime offences because the offenders blend in with the vendors after committing a crime. Thus, it becomes difficult for police to quickly identify the offenders, and most do not report the matter.
Mi bisa lo gorens, mi lugim ma big pla fight come up. Na lo barracks emol government lo mi pla mostly. Na mi pla sa respect, na big pla sampling. So that's why mo civilian na olim gan na kampairam 23 pla katras. From one lo katras, na one pla lo teges.
NCD Superintendent for Operations Brian Combe confirmed that there were some shots fired by off-duty police officers, but said there was a good response by police officers from the Gordon station.
It's about our leaders need to go to the settlements area and need to talk to these youths now. Because Port Moresby has changed to become international country now. PNG go move forward, so we don't need to have this primitive attitude. So we need to change these youths.
Tekla Gunga, National EMTV News.
There will be no National and Supreme Court hearing next week. This follows the staging of the Pacific Judicial Conference, which will be held in Port Moresby from the 12th to the 15th of this month. Chief Justices, including judicial representatives from 14 other Pacific countries, are expected to arrive in the country starting today. They include judges from Australia, New Zealand, Fiji, Federated States of Micronesia, and Guam. All PNG National and Supreme Court judges will also be attending the conference. Meanwhile, the Office of the Court Registry will remain open for any urgent legal matters. This is the second time PNG will be hosting the Judicial Conference. This year's theme is Enhancing the Quality of Justice in the Pacific. Awareness on how to conduct police investigations involving persons living with special needs was piloted at the Bomana Police Training College yesterday. The training comes at a time most police stations in the country are receiving increase in reports of offences involving persons with special needs.
The introduction of proper interrogation approach towards children or adults living with special needs becomes important when the suspect or offender is someone with a special need. At the moment, the interviewing of persons with special needs is a major challenge for investigative officers. Thus, the training piloted at the Police College is an approach the Royal Papua New Guinea Constabulary is taking in upskilling police personnel to handle such issues.
Our issue is how do police
address and deal with persons with disability.
Earlier in the year, the national government approved the sign language as the fourth national language in PNG. Adding to that, the Police College Administration is planning on designing a program that will be incorporated into the 6 months police training. Yesterday, representatives from the National Association of Persons Living with Disabilities gave an insight into issues they face when they are part of police investigations.
So you would find that in the population that you discharge your constitutional duty as police officers, you would find that maybe 1 or 3 or 5 out of the cases that you come across will involve a person with disability as a complainant or a person who can be deemed as suspect. So this is very, very important when you are discharging your obligation, your duty as a service to the population.
This awareness is the first of its kind, and it's believed to improve the technique police officers will use in handling these cases. Thakla Gunga, National EMTV News.
A health survey training will be conducted by the National Statistics Office from the 12th to the 26th of September throughout the country. It is to train field personnel in preparations for the 2016 Demographic Health Survey that will be conducted from October to December. The Demographic Health Survey is conducted to generate health data. The National Statistics Office conducts this survey every 10 years in between census. This will be the third DHS to be conducted. Pre-tests of the Demographic Health Survey have been conducted early this year. Rabaul District is gearing up for at least 3 days of festivity that will begin on September 16th, Independence Day. The Independence Week, which begins next week, remains an eventful week in the East New Britain provincial calendar. The province will come together yet again to stage the Frangipani Festival as well as the country's 41st independence anniversary and the 22nd anniversary of the 1994 volcano eruptions. Edwin Fidelis reports from Kokopo.
3 days of festivity that will begin next Friday will bring together the East New Britain people to the Frangipani Festival to commemorate 2 big events in the province. First, the PNG's 41st independence celebration on the 16th, followed by the 22nd anniversary celebrations of the Vurvur and Vulcan eruptions on the 19th.
And it's getting bigger and stronger. It was just a 1-day event and now it's a 2-day event. In fact, this year it'll be a 3-day event.
While the events will be celebrated both in Kokopo and Rabaul, the celebrations in Rabaul are expected to be the biggest, and Rabaul town is already gearing up to play host to these events as a stark reminder of what happened 22 years ago.
So we've ticked all the boxes: the Kinevise set, the canoe race, the festivities on Independence Day, our speakers, the provincial administrator, on the Friday, and then our fire dance on the Friday evening, and then of course the next day the float parade, and the music festival, and then on Monday. So we're pretty much we've ticked every box.
On the 19th of September 1994, as the country was coming to the end of the 19th independence celebration, the Vurvur and Vulcan volcanoes erupted and devastated Rabaul town.
So Rabaul will, port cities stay alive, and it's a win-win. If we can make a strong Kokopo and a strong Rabaul, it's a win-win for East New Britain, and that's what I'm after.
While the East New Britain people know all too well that the town won't be revived easily, the celebrations will only mark the 2 events that happened coincidentally on the Independence Week in 1994, and most importantly, to celebrate the existence of Rabaul town as it continues to triumph over the Vurvur's adversities. Edwin Fidelis, National EMTV News, Kokopo.
Finance Secretary Dari Vele yesterday told the heads of department meeting in Lae that government departments will need to continue belt-tightening measures for the next 2 years while the global economy recovers. Speaking at Egan Barracks, Vele said spending cuts needed to continue while oil prices remained low and growth in emerging economies remained suppressed. Vela's comments came as various departments expressed the need for spending and maintenance in existing projects. The biggest spenders continue to be health, education and works. National EMTV News continues after the break. Stay with us. Welcome back. A technical team from the Conservation and Environment Authority will investigate water extraction issues in New Ireland Province. This comes as the government has expressed concerns over a water use permit that allows a mining company to extract more than the permitted rate volume of 3,800 cubic meters. Landowners of the area lodged a complaint to the Chief Secretariat office and are claiming 113 million kina in compensation for water extracted from the London-Lovett River in Lihir. However, the government says under the Environment Act 2000, the state is the owner of the London-Lovett River. Turning overseas, Russia is flexing its military muscle in Crimea, and that has some people wondering if the war games in the territory were Russia stirring up trouble or just being prepared.
Moscow putting on a huge show of force. War games from land, air, and sea. In Crimea, the territory Russia annexed from Ukraine a little over 2 years ago.
The Russians are sending a very clear message with these large-scale and complex military drills. Their forces are entrenched here in Crimea, and they're ready to fight anytime.
The maneuvers are called Kafkas 2016 and take place not only in Crimea, but in Russia's entire southern military district right on the border with Ukraine. The drills involve more than 12,000 soldiers, dozens of fighter jets flying mock dogfight missions, strike aircraft hitting ground and sea targets, and land forces in an amphibious assault. Still, the Defense Ministry spokesman insists it's not a provocation. This is not at all a provocation, he says. I want to stress that this is a planned event. We announced these drills last November. The troops have been preparing for a long time. But they come at a time of heightened tensions with the U.S. and NATO over the annexation of Crimea and other issues. The Russian Air Force intercepted a U.S. P-8 naval aircraft in the region just as the drills were getting underway. And only 3 weeks ago, Russia accused Ukraine of trying to smuggle operatives into Crimea for sabotage operations, a claim Kiev denies. The Kafkas military drills will likely cause more unease in Ukraine and Eastern European NATO member states. Russia's military chief of staff says the initial assessment is that they went smoothly. We need to fully analyze everything, he says, but these drills were very beneficial to the southern military district and for the troops from other districts involved as well. With Russia and the West at odds over Syria and Ukraine, Moscow is continuing to advance and refine its armed forces for all the world to see.
The French Alps offer stunning views of some of Europe's highest peaks. What was supposed to be a fun excursion about 30 minutes turned into quite an ordeal for 3 cable car passengers trapped overnight. They were rescued Friday morning but spent a chilling evening hovering above the mountains.
Visibly relieved to be back on the ground. It was supposed to be a beautiful day out at Western Europe's highest peak, but it turned into a nightmare. 33 people stuck in several cable cars overnight in the French Alps, suspended at over 12,000 feet. They were among 110 initially trapped after wires carrying the cars tangled in high winds. The experience left many shaken.
You try to clear your mind as much as you can, but it's very difficult, very difficult. I had to close my eyes during a good amount of time to try to think about something else.
Rescuers raced against nightfall, using helicopters to evacuate as many as possible. When fog rolled in, they used rope to lower some riders to the ground.
And they tried to take us with a helicopter, but the fog came in. So the 2 rescuers stayed with us, and then we did a belay after we decided there was no other way to get down.
Those stuck overnight had to use blankets, water, and cereal bars and survival kits found in each cabin. As morning broke, the final 33 people were freed after first responders managed to restart the cars. Now heading back, relieved it's over and that no one was hurt. French officials have already begun an investigation into this incident, perhaps with an eye to make sure it never happens again. For those who were stuck all night in those freezing cable cars, however, they probably never wanted to step foot in one again.
Trucha Sports is next. Stay tuned for details.
Trucha Sports.
Welcome to Trucha Sports. In cricket, Swire Shipping Hoods have taken out the Port Moresby Men's Cricket Grand Final in stunning fashion after defeating IBS Poriporna, chasing a run target of 118 set by Poriporna in the first innings, opening Hoods batsmen Stephen Evo and Ratu Maha. Despite the dismissal batting, Hoods were able to easily chase down Poriporna's first innings target, Nigel Bogue going for a 6 as well to see Hoods hit 100 runs with 7 overs still remaining. Ratu Maha caught out after 68 runs, but by then his side already had the game in hand, and with only 6 runs needed to win, Hitolo Areni went all out to capture victory for his team.
Yes, we were in trouble, but Actually, we lost double wickets on the 14th over. But actually, that's our big guy, Hitolo Areni. He always saves us on the field at the last over, so we didn't really even got any pressure like that.
It's only over 2 weeks since the closing ceremony of the 2016 Olympic Games, but the Maracanã Stadium in Brazil came alive once again for the opening ceremony of the 15th Paralympic Games to a backdrop of color and music. The opening ceremony on the night began with the journey of the International Paralympic Committee President and British Paralympian from 1972 to 1988, Philip Craven.
The 15th Paralympic Games 2016 saw athletes, officials and spectators get treated to an absolute treat of colors and moving lights in and around the famous Maracanã Stadium. Spectacular performances went on display with traditional music, dance and showcasing of Brazil's historic landmarks.
It is a carioca ritual to applaud the sunset, which is happening over the scene.
5,300 athletes from 160 countries were present, which 1,800 of the athletes attending the games are wheelchair users. The first to enter the stadium were the independent Paralympic athletes, followed by People's Republic of China, which topped the medal tally in the past 3 Paralympic Games. United States was next to follow after China, who's the only country to have won 731 gold and the only nation to have over 2,000 medals in total. Great Britain followed after USA, then Japan, and followed by host nation Brazil. After the welcome of countries around the world, it was back to more entertainment of music, dance and light spectacular. Godwin Eki, National EMTV Sports.
To NRL, PNG Kumu's captain David Mead has signed a 1-year deal with the Brisbane Broncos. Mead announced this through his Instagram page after their loss to the Broncos yesterday night. The Broncos, through their official website, confirmed Mead's signing, saying the utility back will join the club later in the year when they start their pre-season training. Mead is said to replace Broncos centre Jack Reed after Reed was forced to retire due to injury. And that's a wrap for Trucha Sports. Stay tuned for weather details.
Trucha Sports. Trucha Sports.
The weather details are proudly brought to you by Dulux Weather Shield. Worth doing with Dulux.
Your weather forecast for tonight and tomorrow: evening thundery showers or 2 in Port Moresby, evening shower or 2 in Kerma, Popondetta and Alatau, and mostly fine in Daru. In the Momase region, fine in Wewak and Vanimo, mostly fine in Medang and a shower or 2 in Lae. In the islands region, mostly fine in Kokopo, Rabaul and Kimbe, a shower or two in Buka and Kavieng, and fine in Lorengau. And in the Highlands region, evening brief showers, then morning fog in all centers.
The weather details are proudly brought to you by Dulux Weather Shield, with doing with Dulux.
And that has been National EMTV News this Saturday, the 10th of September 2016. On behalf of the news team, pleasant viewing. Good night.